We have Hauntaholics today. Introduce yourself. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi, we're good. How are you guys?
Great.
Good. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Erin Martinez. I'm the queen of Halloween.
I am John Martinez. I'm the king of Halloween.
Nice. So, what do you guys do? I know what you guys do. Chris knows what you do. Tell our viewers what you guys do.
We review haunted attractions and haunted houses nationwide.
Hell yeah.
Our home base is here in Colorado. We try to hit every one that we are aware of and have time to get to in the state of Colorado. And then as much as we can, we like to travel elsewhere and go check out haunts in other places.
Hell yeah. Chris, you're muted. We broke him.
How did you guys get into doing haunted houses?
So I'll let you start.
It was definitely a passion of mine. I went to my first haunted house 20 years ago now. And over the years, I would go to, I started with 1, 2. I started to learn here in Colorado how many there were. So, gosh, within 3 or 4 years, I was hitting 10, 12, 15, crazy numbers. 10, 15 years ago, there seemed to be so many more haunted houses in Colorado. Once we got together a little over 10 years ago, well, actually, let me rewind. So every year I would send all my friends like my top haunts list, top 10, top 15, whatever it may be, any particular year. And once we got together, she had suggested that
Well, so I felt super privileged that I was on the list at one point. Like I got on John's famous top haunts list. And I was like, whoa, I'm cool enough to be on John's top haunts list. And then we started dating and I was like, so your top haunts list, you should put that on the internet. And he was like, how? I was like, I don't know, like on Facebook or something. And he was like, I don't have a Facebook, so I don't know where to put it. And I was like, I'll do it. And so I did. I created like a separate Facebook page off of my page. We figured out a name for it. We're not alcoholics, we're hauntaholics.
I like that.
Yeah, that's how we came up with the name, where it's an addiction, and anybody in the business knows once you pop, you can't stop. Like that's just
that first eyeball hanging out is just
right.
Never go back.
So that's how we came up with the Hauntaholics. And then as YouTube got more and more popular and you realized that people could make videos for whatever the heck they wanted and get away with it, we were like, well, let's film our adventures. And so we started doing that.
Nice. That's awesome.
So where's the farthest you guys have traveled so far?
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
We went to Boston in 2016.
I believe so.
Yeah, so we went to Boston in 2016 for a football game, Patriots.
Actually, you know what? It's 2018.
Was it? Oh, was it that?
I believe so. Yes.
Oh, 2018?
Yes.
Okay.
2018.
Anyway, 2018. Since the pandemic, all of the years just kind of mesh into this weird time bubble thing.
Yeah.
So anything before that, I don't really remember what year. Anything after, it's like,
yeah. We just,
it was like
before
last
COVID,
month,
was
right?
it after COVID? That's kind of how we try to split up the timelines.
Right.
Yeah. A while ago, little bit ago scenario.
Yeah, exactly. we go back to little kid time, everything was Laster Day.
Yeah.
Laster Day. That's amazing.
But out in Boston, we went to a super cool haunted house called Ghost Ship Harbor. Unfortunately, they had a fire and weren't able to recover, so they don't exist anymore. But it was literally a haunted house on the deck of a battleship.
Of the USS Salem.
The USS Salem.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And so they put the haunt on the deck of the battleship. And then in other places of the ship, they would do a paranormal ghost tour. And so I don't remember the name of the society, but their paranormal society would host the ghost tour. and you could buy a combo pack of tickets that would include the haunt and the ghost tour. They also had a psychic on board, and you could do a reading with her as well if you wanted to. And she would do like a full seance performance as well. So it was like the coolest experience.
It was a full immersive event and very, very unique. By far the most unique location we've ever been to a haunted house.
Most definitely.
For sure.
Wow. That sounds cool.
It was really cool.
It was great. And I swear we had gone October 2018 and we got home and I think they had a fire within days later after we had been there. So we were really lucky to have experienced that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. You're the last one of the last people to see it.
We probably were.
Yes.
That's crazy. I just did this almost the same thing out in Nebraska. There was a haunt, Shadow's Edge. They were getting ready to shut down. They've been open for like 20 years, and this was their last year running. And we were getting ready to take a trip out there this year. And I had them on my list to go see, because I was like, well, screw it. It's their last year. Let's go see them. And somebody had spun the back of their car through the front of their queue line and smashed up like the whole front of their haunt.
Oh,
and within like 3 days, they had it rebuilt because all the haunts in the area came over and like helped them rebuild everything because it was their last year. And the guys were like super cool with the community and everything. So everybody came and helped. And so luckily we got to see them, but I was like, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
So I always say Halloween and haunted houses, they bring people together.
They do.
They really do.
Yeah. It's a place of belonging. I find for a lot of people that don't
belong.
Have other, exactly. Don't have other things, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because for me, that's like my thing, you know what I'm saying? Like for me, once I found haunting and I started haunting, that's when I really found myself, if that makes sense.
Yes.
It's like
finally my people.
Your niche, your thing, whether you're a sports person or a theater person or whatever, like you find your group, your tribe,
your peeps.
Yeah.
That's it.
So is there any haunt on your bucket list that you guys really want to go see that you haven't seen yet?
There are several. Several out in California. Definitely like Knott's Scary Farm, LA Haunted Hayride. What else is out there?
Absolutely. Gosh, so many more that I can't think of the names off the top of
that,
my head.
One of our favorite haunt performers, Monty Revolta, still does a show out there at LA Haunted Hayride.
Oh, nice.
We got to see his show virtually in 2020 because he did like a broadcast for it was for 13th Floor, but it was their version of City of the Dead because they had just bought City of the Dead the year before, and then we had a pandemic, and then they couldn't actually do anything with it. So they turned it into like a drive-in theater, and we got to see that Monty Revolta show. And then we learned that he's out in LA and actually does like live shows for that haunt. So that's on the bucket list. There's
Pennsylvania. Yeah, Pennsylvania with Eastern State
Penitentiary, Bates Motel. Yeah.
So many that would be.
Eastern State's legendary. I think that one's on everyone's bucket list.
Unless you've been there, it's on your bucket list.
Exactly.
Right.
Because I know because it's like actually in the penitentiary. So where I grew up in Canyon City, the prison museum there, which was the first prison on this side of the Mississippi when I was a kid, they had a haunted house.
We heard about that because we
go into that when I was a kid. Yeah.
So like Dark Side of the Abbey and Aftermath, and they would tell us that the prison used to have a haunted house too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was crazy. And that place has got to, because it was literally a prison, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And guys who went to prison back then, they were bad people, so
Ohio's got one that's an old prison that's just unreal, and it's all like prison themed and shit. The girl who's like their main character, she's 6'7", and she does this fucking scream that is just outrageous, and it's like I was like, this is amazing. and that's her natural height, and then she wears boots on top of it that puts her at like 7 foot.
Oh my gosh.
She's incredible.
Who needs stilts?
Right? Who needs stilts?
Right? Get her ass up to like 9 feet.
Well, I mean, what else are you going to do? Be a basketball player, a wrestler, or work in a haunted house? Like, those are your options if you're that tall.
Yeah. There's a guy out at Woods of Terror in North Carolina right now. I think he's like 6'8" or some shit. And he does a zombie where he's like an infected zombie, and he just does this movement shit where it's all robot. It is so neat looking to watch.
That's awesome.
Really cool. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get out there this year to go see him and actually work with him a little bit, maybe.
Ooh, fun.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yes, it'd be fun.
Are
Cool,
they
so-
year round or?
No, they're just Halloween year.
Okay.
But so I'll be traveling a little bit this year, I think more so with Scurry Face. So I'll be getting to travel around to different states and different haunts and stuff. So right now we're looking at Woods of Terror, Scary Acres in Nebraska, in Nebraska, Purgatory in Texas, and a few others, just to throw on the list.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. So get to see what others do for a little bit,
Heck yeah. That's the best
What is
part.
the main thing you guys look for when you're reviewing a haunted house, when you do the haunted house review?
Yeah. What do you? Yeah.
What do you guys specifically like? What do you guys look for? Like, out of curiosity.
Not as like give me an inside tip, but like what is generally you guys
Yeah.
like looking for? Because I know a lot of haunts are looking at that and they see review teams come through and they're like, well, what do I improve on? Outside of, I don't know.
So we actually have a whole like ranking criteria that we use, and it's our own system. We came up with it ourselves, but it boils down to overall scare factor, and that's probably the most like biased category that we have, because it is how much did you immerse us in the culture of the haunt? Like,
Right.
did we get scares like from the beginning, and did you keep them going throughout the entire haunt? So that's like overall scare factor.
Okay.
One that does an amazing job at that in Colorado is obviously Hellscream Entertainment, both at Fear Factor and Fear Complex. Sorry. And at Hellscream itself, they like the overall immersive, like you're in there and you don't know anything else about the world except what's happening to you right then in that moment. We also use like jump scares, and that's just a straight up number,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Sets and props are very important.
Yes.
But before sets and props, I would say the actors themselves. That's really important to us, and the you can tell some ad-libbing and some playing back and forth and such like things like that.
We're looking for a good RAR is, if it's well placed, like it's appropriate, but
Right.
you don't want the entire haunt to be actors whose only line is gotcha.
To make that same noise over and over
Right.
and over. Yep.
So
Or
a little bit of
boo.
dialogue or some just like blowing to make your hair rustle, or
The odd stuff.
You want
Yeah.
different stuff, basically.
the different stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the stuff that makes scare actors good.
Right. I'm sure your
Right.
favorite thing is get out. It's your
Yes.
favorite phrase.
Yeah.
Right? Get out.
What are you doing
How
here?
often do you hear get out?
Like, wait, I paid to be in here. I'm not leaving.
Yeah. Right. Right. We're there to entertain. So have you guys acted in a haunted house before? Or have you guys just been purely on the review side of things?
We have been purely on the review side of things. The closest experience we ever had to the acting side was our youngest daughter has been like begging and begging and begging since she was like 7 years old to be able to act in a haunted house. And there was a haunt down in the Pueblo area called Hell's Trail. And, we became friends with that guy. He actually was our minister at our wedding. He's the one that married us. And he told our kid, he was like, next haunt season, all you like come down, I'll put you in a spot in the haunt and you can do your thing. And she was like so excited. Well, that next year was 2020.
Oh man.
Damn.
And
Sadly.
he didn't open that year. Just liability and insurance and all of that.
Yeah.
And so she didn't get to do it. And then we got to talking to some of the folks down at Hellscream, and the owners, Brenda and Jack, they were like, how old is she? And we were like, she's 13. And they were like, for just a couple hours she can come in, but you have to sign like a liability waiver and everything like that. And so we signed all the paperwork, and they put her like, right up front, like right next to the control room, so that people could keep an eye on her. And there was a runner in there the whole time, and then another actor in there the whole time. But she said it was the greatest night of her life. And her little line, she was so good. She's a theater kid, so she loves acting anyway. But yeah, it was hilarious and the best thing. And it was really cool to hear, her talk for weeks, still talking about the acting side of the haunt. Like, she just would not stop talking about how cool it was. And now she feels all like an insider because she knows everything.
Very nice.
Good
For her.
But yeah, that's
Awesome.
the closest we've
I
ever
think
gotten
that's
to
what
the
it's
acting
about.
side.
That's
Yeah.
what it's about. I think if more haunts did that, reached out and did like a 2-hour thing with younger kids, maybe we wouldn't have kids walking in telling us that we're shit every 5 minutes. Maybe we wouldn't have kids telling us that we're not scary. It
Right.
might help, and maybe build and give some of these kids confidence to be like, oh, okay, well, maybe somewhere in life I do fit in,
Right. Yeah,
Very true.
I agree with that. Like, exposing kids to different outlets of creativity, I think is like one of the best things you can do for a kid.
Yes.
And, haunt acting is an entirely different outlet of creativity. Like,
There's so many levels to it.
Yeah.
If your kid's electronic, they can get into the animatronic side. If they're more
Right.
artistic, they can get into costuming or makeup or mask making or prop making or what is set design, anything. There's so many things. If your kid's a builder, shit, you can build sets, you can build haunts.
Right?
There's so many things that incorporate so much of life in a haunt, and people just bypass it and think, oh, well, it's the weirdos. No, we're actually pretty decent humans if you get to know us.
Yeah. So the company that I work for has a very diverse population, and people come from all over the place, all different places. And I have met people who have heard what I do, and they're like, oh, have you heard about this software, this graphic design software that you can like literally build a virtual haunted house, and then you can like, have like set plans, and then people can go and build it. And like, there are jobs in the haunt industry for carpentry and graphic design and like architecture. Like, it's a wide range of crafts.
Right. Yep. And a lot of the time, all it is a matter of you walking up to the haunt and saying, hey, do you need any help? And 9 times out of 10,
they're going to be like, yes, please.
yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, with the programs and stuff like that. I mean, that's always needed. But I can see a future where there's like virtual reality haunted houses with like, an Oculus Quest or something, put on the headset and walk around like a warehouse. I think that'd be like something that'd be really cool, and I think that could have the potential to like really blow people's minds. Because they have
Yes.
like kind of like laser tag with that. It's called Sandbox VR. And it's
Right.
like hosted in like a big warehouse, and they can like put like monsters or soldiers or whatever in it, and it's like a laser tag game basically. But I
Yeah.
think like a virtual reality haunted house would be pretty cool.
There was a place in, was it Missouri?
Oh yes.
Like
Gosh,
Pleasant
Lee's
something?
Summit. I
Lee's
believe.
Summit.
Yes.
There's a place in Lee's Summit, Missouri. And this guy was like, on the verge of something really cool. It was his first haunt, and it was basically like a giant inflatable chamber, and he had put like like boxes and pillars and just like geometric shaped like structures inside of this giant air chamber, and the entire inside of the thing was green screened, so you could like pick your own haunt adventure from like the list of ones that he had designed. So it was like being inside of a video game essentially. So you would like pick, do you want the carnival haunt experience, do you want the serial killer haunt experience, and you could pick which one, and he would load it and the system would just blast it on the green screens all up inside the haunt. And so there was like one actor in the actual actor in the haunt, but all of the rest of it was virtual, and it was like
wow.
such a crazy different
It's very
like haunt
innovative.
thing that we had seen.
Huh.
Wow. So did you actually have to put on like a headset or
No, you're just
no?
regular old you.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
it was really cool.
Wow.
Very unique experience for sure.
I mean, it's teeny tiny. I mean, it's like the size of your average living room. It's not
Right,
very
right.
big.
Still,
But
that's
still,
kind of cool.
that takes a lot of dedication to put that together. I'm sure
Yeah,
all the programming that went behind that, I'm sure, was hours and hours to put something
I
like that
can
together.
only imagine.
That's
Yeah.
insane. Could you
But
imagine haunts going down to just one actor? Like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and run my haunt today. Push a fucking button, and there you go.
And there you go.
There you go.
No,
No,
In the world,
I,
but
I think if he had the time and the resources like to put that technology into something big, like an actual building where there's just like rooms where it's this virtual thing, and then there's actors throughout, that would be something
could be
different and
insane.
super cool.
yes.
could
It's
you
like-
imagine being in the middle of it and then it all change on you, and then you're like, oh shit, and then the whole different,
I
the
didn't
whole
think about
scene
that.
changes.
That'd be so cool.
It would be.
Like
right.
be in the middle of a haunt, and then all of a sudden somebody pushes a button, and you're like in a different haunt. You're like, wait, I don't know where I am or how to
What
get
was
out.
it? What was that movie? It was years and years ago. It was like some cabin movie or some shit where it was all like horror movie generated stuff, and they had to like go from room to room through the different horror rooms or something stupid. Or maybe I dreamt it. I don't fucking know.
The only
It's
thing
like, I don't know,
The cabin in
think
the
of
woods,
it-
but
yeah,
No,
that's what I was gonna say. Cabin in the woods.
yeah, something like
But
that.
all the monsters were stored like underneath.
Yeah,
in, like,
that's
a layer.
yeah. And then all of a sudden it just would flip the scene and a different set of monsters would be there, and you're like, oh fuck me.
he's the horror movie guy. Not I'm a classic '90s slasher person. He watches everything else.
Oh, do you not
That's
watch
true.
it with them or?
Sometimes it depends on like I've seen all the Conjurings and everything like that, but I like haunted houses. I don't like horror movies.
Okay.
I begged her for years to watch Hell House LLC with me. I think you made it
Okay.
through about
I made
20
through
minutes,
like half.
maybe?
No, I
Was it
it
half?
was like half of it.
Okay.
To be fair, I was very tired.
Hell House LLC, is that the thing that Zach Bagans did at the Hell? I think it's called the Hell House, right?
No, it was more an independent movie. Came out around 2016, 2017.
It's like found footage style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah, 'cause
trilogy, and
not
actually they have a new one that just came out here on Shudder here a couple months ago around Halloween.
Oh, cool. So
Really
what
great
is your
shit. Highly
favorite horror
recommend.
movie of all time?
My favorite horror movie or his?
Both of y'all's. Both.
Okay, you go first.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Scream.
Oh, that's yours too?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were like Psycho or something.
So many years of my life, I was Psycho. The OG Psycho was the greatest movie ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved Scream when it came out.
Scream is by far my favorite horror movie.
And since
of all time.
it's come back, we rewatched them all, and like it's just amazing. It's great.
Mhm.
It's greatness.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. I feel
like
everyone has their favorite horror movie, For me, it's like the original Halloween.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
that's
Yeah.
probably number 2 for
Classic.
me.
Yes.
Yeah, that one and Evil Dead 2.
Okay.
Another
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
See, I'm more of a Freddy guy.
Yeah.
But see, I don't think of Freddy as horror though, so I think of more of like comedy.
Yeah, it's so
I don't know.
dark comedy,
It
especially
really
now.
is.
Yeah, like I don't know. I remember my dad trying to scare me when I was a kid, and he was like, "All right, this is called It," and I was like, "All right, it's a clown," and I don't remember being scared at all. And he was like so baffled, and he's like, "Okay, fine, here," and then he put on like Exorcist, and I was like, "All right, that's a girl puking," and he was like, "Man, there's something wrong with you," and I was like, "Yeah, probably. I don't know."
Yeah, and
Right, like the scene, the one scene that I remember in Freddy where he like pops out of the closet and he's got all the innards on his fingers, and I was like, "That's so cool," you know. I don't know. I'm twisted,
Personality. It's great.
he was the first killer with an actual personality.
right? Like he had jokes, and you're like, "Oh, cool. He's gonna tell me a joke before he kills me." At least, like at least I
kill
don't have
you,
to
but
run
I'm gonna make you
tired. At
laugh
least I can.
first.
Yeah,
So great.
I want to be tired from laughing, not running.
Right?
That's an ideal for an independent horror film. It's the guy that kills people by making them laugh to death.
He just tells them raunchy jokes or something, laffy taffy jokes.
Dad
Oh,
jokes.
those are so corny.
Death by dad jokes.
Death by dad jokes. I think
That's
that happens
good.
to
I
my
like
teenager
that.
on the daily.
So is there any scene that stuck out over the years that let's say, okay, in the past like 5 years, has there been a scene that you've seen in any haunt that just kind of stuck out and has been your overall favorite scene for a few years at a time? Not necessarily like recent, or like maybe it happened 10 years ago, but it happened for like a few years. You know what I'm saying? Like just one scene that was just like, damn, that was a scene for years.
So the one that sticks out in my mind is from a haunt called Spider Mansion. It was up at the Heritage Square, like amusement park years ago. They actually closed when Heritage Square closed down. The haunt was no more, but then they rebranded and came back as the world's scariest haunted house in Littleton. But when they were at Heritage Square, it was like, I think it was my first full year doing like all of the haunts with you.
Yes.
And it was a tiny haunt, like 5-foot ceilings, like, or I mean, maybe 6-foot ceilings. Like you barely had enough room to stand up tall inside of the haunt. And they had a dude on like 10-foot stilts in this tiny room. And he was just, it was like a Ghostface-esque costume. It was just in all black, Grim Reaper like. And the room was just like, spider webby and dark lighting. And you come into the room because a scare actor, like scares you into the next scene. And so you've just been scared. You come into this scene and you see like hardly anything because the lighting changes. It's all dark. And then out of nowhere, this giant Reaper creature like comes up like this in this like teeny tiny room. I mean, he took over the entire room to the point where it scared the bejesus out of me. And I was like crawling. I hit the deck down under,
just cowering
in the corner. And I was like I crawled out of that room to the next one before I stood up because he was so like just ominous and looming. So yeah, that's probably one that sticks out strongly.
I would say we made a couple of trips to Missouri. So we were in Kansas City and St. Louis here a few years ago, and we were at the Beast Haunted House, and they have the haunts literally an hour-long experience.
Yeah.
And they had the greatest headless horseman animatronic we've ever seen. It bucked and made noise, and the horseman was on the saddle, and it I popped so hard. I was like screaming at the top of my lungs with excitement.
Hell yeah.
Love Sleeping Hollow, Headless Horseman, and
Yeah.
such. So, yeah, that definitely for
And-
many years stuck out in my mind.
That's like, so in the Beast Haunted House, they have a slide, and because it's a 4-story building, and you start out on the main floor of the building, and then as you go through the haunt, you kind of wind your way up to the 4th floor, and then instead of them changing the layout of the haunt to where you go back down the stairs, you end at this room where you go down a 4-story slide. Actually, it's a 5-story slide because you slide down into their basement, and that's how you get out of the haunt.
Yes.
And so you take the slide. They give you like a little, burlap sack or whatever to sit on, and you take the slide and you land in the slide room and come out of the slide room, and there's the Headless Horseman. So you descend all the way down into the basement and then walk into the next space, and he's just like there. And it's totally set like a London street. It gives you Jack the Ripper vibes all over. And then the Headless Horseman is just like there in the center. He's a centerpiece of that scene. So yes, that is a great one. His memory is better than mine.
It's funny about the Beast. The first year that we went, you had an option. You can go down the 5-story slide, or you can literally jump out the window onto a giant crash pad.
Shut up.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
And
we were both too chicken shit to jump out onto the crash pad.
That first time. We went back the following year. We're ready. We're jumping out the window, and at least that particular night they weren't doing it.
They didn't have it.
So I'm like, so either someone really was injured, or maybe it was early in the season, so maybe it just wasn't set up yet.
Yeah.
We never did find out.
Oh.
Or their insurance was
went back.
Their insurance was like,
Yeah,
they're like, you guys were doing what?
Yeah.
The fuck did you say you did?
Right.
We're jumping out 5-story window. No, fuck off.
Yeah, to be
the emergency escape.
Could you imagine being a haunt insurance company though? Like, you want to do what now? You want to? You're chopping people in half? No.
No, you can't do that.
I want to throw people out of a 4-story window. No, sir, you cannot do that.
There's a crash pad.
That'll be
It's fine.
We've got somebody to monitor it. Maybe, I don't know.
If there's time.
They're
What's
17.
the worst that can happen? Yeah, what a time. I mean, I would imagine if you're just like a regular insurance salesman, and then all of a sudden you got all these, hey, do you think we can get away with blindfolding people? There's all these crazy requests from haunted houses.
Hayes, the new guy at the insurance company, like, hey, go ahead and deal with this company. All right, so here's the deal. We got flamethrowers, chainsaws, and knives. What?
Yeah.
That'd be great. So if you guys could own and build your own haunt, what theme would you guys go with? So you know what I mean? Like, would you stick to a one theme haunt? Would you stick to a multi-theme? What kind of stuff would you guys do?
So in my brain, because it's chaotic, I would just pick variations of all of my favorite scenes from haunts that I have seen. And knowing him, I'm sure he would say that all of the things that he's wanted to see in a haunted house but never seen, probably because of insurance, is what he would pick. Because you've come up with several things where you're like, this would make a great haunt scene.
I have, gosh, I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
I don't know of any off the top of my head, but
I agree with the whole, combining different parts of all of our favorite haunts into one, taking it up, maybe take it up a level or two, for sure.
And all your favorite, the best scenes in. So okay, one of my ideas, and it was kind of executed in the right way, but not really, is a horror theater, and they have one in Kansas City. Is on the Kansas side, Missouri side.
Oh, which
The
one are you thinking
Macabre
about?
Theater.
Oh, Macabre Theater. It was in Kansas City,
So
Missouri.
they had, it's a horror theater. They had it. It was called the Macabre Theater, and you would like walk through, and it would kind of be scenes from all the classic horror movies. What I didn't like about theirs is that it was poorly lit, and I just don't feel like they highlighted the scenes well. So my thought is like Disney World style, where the stage is in the center and then the audience rotates around the stage, and as you rotate, the different like horror scenes are played out, but then they become interactive with the audience. So like Freddy jumps down and like gets in your face, as you're like running, as he like runs through the audience, and then you go to the next scene and it's all like black, but then somebody who's planted like screams, oh my god, Ghostface is here, and then you turn around and the spotlight comes on, and like Ghostface with his knife, and then screaming virgin runs across the stage, all bloody, and then he goes and chases her. Like that would be my idea of like a haunt, like a legit haunt theater.
Hell yeah. I like
Awesome.
that idea.
But yeah.
That's cool.
I like it because I wouldn't have to move. I just sit in my
Yeah, I'm like, it's like
fuck yeah, let's go.
people.
It's kind of all right.
Yeah, exactly. Interactive, immersive theater experience.
Right. That's cool.
So I think like a Small World kind of ride, like a Small World, like you just sit in like a little boat and just ride through and let them like jump over the boat and shit.
Like
that'd be awesome.
Like the murder ride from A House of a Thousand Corpse.
Right.
Yes.
I was just watching that scene the other night, and I had the same thought. Yeah.
It's not even chain driven. You have like people push the carts. They're like,
you have somebody else out there in the water, like, come on, like a little zombie guy or something.
That would be the best.
For sure.
It's not a bad idea.
No, it's not
a pretty
a
good idea. It's awesome.
Somebody finance it. Make it happen.
Make it happen.
We'll go and review it, and it'll blow up.
Right. Hopefully. Right on. So have you guys been to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las Vegas?
No, not
We
yet.
have not. We have not.
Okay.
That's definitely a goal to get out there for sure.
We have
just see
friends
the
that went.
sadness in his face.
Yeah. Because I know you guys review haunted houses and stuff like this. Is a question I went at the beginning of this year. It was a really cool experience.
Lucky bastard.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely Zach and Ghost Adventures.
Yeah. That's why I asked you about the Hell House thing, because I know I think it's called Hell House. He has a thing where he like spent a night in like a house that's like super haunted or whatever.
Oh yeah,
they made like a little.
It was in Gary, Indiana. He had purchased a house there, and it was a whole documentary. It was about 2 hours long, and he would not say exactly what happened to him, but he said after that experience, he had to start wearing glasses because something like he stayed in the house by himself. And something really messed up happened to him, and he actually ended up having the house demolished. But he does have some of the wood from the house in the museum. So I heard.
Yes, yeah, they have it's a whole scene.
Demon House. They call it Demon House.
Yeah, that's what it's called, Demon House. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
And Hell House was actually filmed. Gosh, I can't remember the name of the haunt, but it was filmed at an actual haunt in Pennsylvania. So that
cool.
would definitely be a part of our Pennsylvania trip, our future trip someday.
Terrifier was filmed at a haunt, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about that one.
Yeah,
the
guy
Terrifier,
I forget
the
where
guy
it was.
who plays Terrifier. He used to work at the haunt that they filmed it at.
Oh, crazy!
Whoa.
And then they filmed it or whatever, and then he kind of just blew up out of nowhere.
Wow,
crazy!
Super cool. I didn't know
That's
that.
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, he started out as a haunt actor and then kind of went in. He said it was completely accidental and just kind of went in from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Super cool.
What is your opinion on Terrifier? Because that seems like a really divisive movie. Either people love it or they just hate it because it's like too over the top.
I would definitely say it's not her style of movie, and honestly, I have actually never seen it either.
Oh, okay.
Know of it definitely, but have never seen it. So
That's totally fair.
Yeah, it's totally fair. But yeah, it seems like most people I talk to, either people like it's a love or hate thing. You know what I'm saying? It seems like there's not a lot of oh, it's okay. So
I imagine
Okay.
so.
I recommend it though. It's like
Well,
because
watch it and let me know what you think.
Yeah, I really should bite the bullet and watch that.
yeah, they used a lot of like practical effects and stuff like that, which I
Okay.
think's really cool. You know, practical effects is just makes things a lot cooler. You know,
I like
That's
that
what
he
made-
doesn't talk.
yeah, that's
I
cool
think
too.
that's the coolest part because I've come to the point in my hunt career where I don't feel like talking anymore. So for the past like 2 or 3 years, I've just kind of shut up and let my acting do it. And if it happens, it happens. If I don't scare you, I guess then I might tell you a joke. But I try to let my body movement and my eyes do a lot of it because I wear a half mask, so it's mostly my eye stuff, and I try to get people with that. And so far, it's worked. So I'm
Well,
hoping.
having seen your work, I think you're doing just fine.
Thank you.
I'll get the best chainsaw man in the business. So absolutely.
Yeah, versus me, I
Thank you.
yell and talk
you so
nonsense
much.
at people all night long. It's great times.
That double mask shit that you got is unreal, though.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
so what was your, I guess, highlight from this past season of Haunting? Would you say?
Well, this season was
This
definitely
season was a disaster.
yes, it
Was
was
it disaster?
the season
Oh.
we've ever had. From the start.
So the season started, like literally started. Okay, September 23rd. We were ready to go.
September 16th, actually, because we hit Frightmare was our first haunt of the season.
Oh, right. Okay.
Opening night.
Opening night. Frightmare was fine.
Well, I'm just saying when we started our season.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it started fine. Actually, it started really great because we went to Frightmare and then we went to Tear in the Corn, and Tear in the Corn blew us away. They were amazing. Like, holy crap, the best they've been in years and years.
Yes, they really rebuilt that haunt. So
And then
great.
the next haunt weekend is when everything came crashing down.
Well, it was the night after, it was the morning after we went to Tear in the Corn.
was that when I
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
to get to the point, dropped the kid off at her Saturday morning activity, ran into the grocery store, filled the car up with gas, and never made it home because while at the gas station, I tripped and broke my left ankle.
Oh, shit.
And in about 6 hours from that moment is when we were supposed to go to Scream Acres Haunted House
Up at
up
Fritzler
in
Farm.
Fritzler Farms.
Yes.
So yeah, haunt season just went after that.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that makes it hard to get around when you're injured. So
Yeah, he did a lot of haunts on his own. Our kid got a little, foray into the family business. All right, your turn. Go with dad.
All right, you ready to go? No, too late.
Yeah.
that's awesome. I mean, what?
And then
There's
I
no
got
better
a unique
family business
perspective.
than that.
Huh?
Sorry. So there's no better family business than that.
Not at all. Kind of feel like haunting is a family business, like all around. Like if somebody is into it, then they bring in brothers and cousins and all your weirdo family members come out of the woodwork and they're like, "What you doing? That sounds cool. Can we help?"
Right.
Right.
I know how to paint once.
Right?
Yeah.
I can hold a hammer.
Right. Yeah. My dad, the first year I did haunting, my dad did it with me the first year I ever acted. I think I was like 14 or 15.
Oh,
I
cool.
started at Aftermath in
Nice.
Kansas City
Yes.
back in
Great haunted house.
season of 2009, I think, or something like that.
Wow, they've been going for that long.
Nice.
Wow, that's cool.
So, yeah, well, and I remember when I was a kid, the Rec District, it wasn't at that location, but they always had a haunted house in Canyon, so I remember going to that. So it's a small town. When you're a kid, you ain't got nothing better to do, So,
Scared the
Cool.
shit out of me.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Nice. So what is your guys's like YouTube channel and website and social media and all that good stuff?
So it's all the same. It's all Hauntaholics. So YouTube channel is just Hauntaholics. Instagram handle is at Hauntaholics. Our email is hauntaholics@gmail. Our website is hauntaholics.com. It's all just our name. It's very simple.
Whatever it is, it's Hauntaholics.
Whatever it
That's
is, it's
where
Hauntaholics. Yeah.
Get
folks
that
can find you.
We tried to start a TikTok, but social media is not my forte. It's not his either.
Yeah.
So we were hoping the kids would do that one for us, but never took off. But I think
Yeah.
on TikTok it's like __ Hauntaholics or something. But
Oh, cool. Yeah, see, I have the same issues. Like, I got to get good at social media because I
Yeah.
started this podcast and all that, and so like I've taught myself how to do audio and video and all that good jazz.
Very
So,
cool. Yes.
nice.
as reviewers, what would you say is your guys' like biggest like challenge trying to review haunted houses and dealing with different owners and actors and stuff like that?
I would say our number one challenge is traveling, like the amount of time that it takes, because we want to have enough content to fill all of those platforms. And in order to do that, you have to hit as many haunts as possible. And so traveling becomes an issue because, it's 6 weeks long. That's it. That's all you have. And it's usually only weekends. So you have
Right.
6 Fridays and 6 Saturdays to go to 35 different places. So that part becomes an issue. And I think the other thing is we have always tried to never tear down a haunt, because that's not fair.
Right.
And we have read other reviews where they rip haunts apart, and it's like, you can give criticism without completely destroying somebody. But in those instances where you go to a haunt and you're just like, man, ouch.
There have been a few.
At some point you have to be like, okay, let me write the scathing review and then either decide to scale it back and be nice, or just leave it alone and don't actually write one for them.
Yeah.
I mean, that becomes challenging.
Yeah.
Also, overall, we've been
I
well
bet
received
that's
by.
hard.
Huh?
I bet that's really hard walking into certain haunts, because I know like everybody puts their 100% in, but sometimes that 100% isn't exactly, great. So, but at least they're trying, and that's the main goal of at the end of the
Yeah.
day, that they're trying, they're having a good time.
Exactly.
But
And
that's got to be hard on you guys.
Well, and we've learned, getting to know different people in the industry, we've learned over the years, like we can tell sometimes, like, they must have had a lot of call-ins, or they got a late start, or there was some emergency, that happened right before we got there, because you can tell, that there's actors aren't, set where they're supposed to be, or somebody wasn't ready. And I mean, and shit happens. So, we try to take that into account as well. And, that's like one of our disclaimers is we write our reviews based on our experience the night that we went. We
Right.
often don't have an opportunity to go see the same haunt multiple times throughout the season to get a real like overview of how they are. It's that one night is their shot. And if
Yeah.
for us, and if shit goes haywire, then I mean, that sucks for them, but we try to take into account, maybe they had an off night, this is what we experienced, this is how we think they could improve, and sometimes owners do come back to us and they're like, oh, we're so sorry that happened to you, like, we had like 6 actors call in sick, or there was somebody fainted in the haunt and we had an ambulance come and they left like right before you got there, like
Happened.
so
Do you prefer the haunts know that you guys are coming, or do you try to surprise them and just show up out of the blue?
For the most part, so we've made a lot of connections in the haunt world, and we will give them a heads up when we're coming.
We try to give a heads up, but I've also noticed that the better we get at reviewing and the more people we come in contact with, then when we show up and we're known, they're like, oh, they're here. And I'm like, yeah, but I wanted like your authentic experience. Like, I love that you turn up the volume for us because that's awesome. It makes the haunt experience amazing for us. But I'm like, but you don't do that for everybody. So then I feel bad because I got this, super amazing, awesome experience that I get to write rave reviews about, which is obviously what the haunt wants. But, then we get comments on our social media like, oh, I don't know why you guys like that haunt. They sucked. And we're like, well, sorry, they sucked for you, but they were awesome for us.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair enough.
We had a great time. No.
I would say for the most part, we've been well received by haunt owners and operators. There's just been a couple of times we've gone to haunts and introduced ourselves and whatnot, and they had people come through and they're like, oh, well, we had someone come through last week and they claimed they're haunt reviewers and, kind of interrogating us a little bit, which I understand. I understand if you get burned and stuff like that, you want to double check and check our credentials and such.
Yeah.
Right.
But
so do you guys
completely understandable? Because I've heard a lot of haunts are starting to go away from letting reviewers even come through because so many people now are just, oh yeah, I'm a reviewer, and try to get free swag or free tickets.
Wow.
And a lot of these people aren't coming through with the media that they're promising these haunts. Like, oh yeah, I'll go ahead and post on your social media, and then they never do.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to ask if you guys have a good experience with these places, because
generally we do. Again, because our home base is here in Colorado, we obviously visit these ones the most and have the best rapport with owners, operators out here. But we reached out on social media to the Renaissance Fair in Oklahoma. They do a Halloween festival, Renaissance Festival, every year. And, we reached out ahead of time and we said, hey, we're reviewers. Like, we would love to come and check out your, they call it Halloween at the Castle. And
the Castle at Muskogee.
Right? Yeah, the Castle at Muskogee. And, their marketing person came back and was like, who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? And I sent them links to a few of our different videos, and we chatted for a little bit, and they were like, yeah, come on out. We would like to host you and give you the full experience. And they had, how many haunts do they have? 6?
Gosh, it was about 7 or maybe 7 or 8.
They had 6 or 7 like
attractions
actual haunts on the grounds.
Oh wow.
They had a torture museum where they legit had actual like replica, not some of them were real and some of them were replica, but torture devices from like the medieval ages. And they had, a little plaque that you could read, or you could have a guide, and the guide would walk you through and talk to you about all the different torture devices. And, they had a couple actors in there, acting like they were being
amazing.
Stretched or impaled or whatever. So it was a really cool little experience. But yeah, I mean, that was our first time really reaching out to somewhere not here ahead of going and saying, here's who we are. We would have gone anyway and, spent whatever money we needed to spend to get the experience. Cause that's, ultimately the bottom line is I want a crap load of stories and memories to tell our grandchildren and great grandchildren. So we just want to travel and explore and experience all the things. But if we get to do them, because people want us to come review their stuff and, they're willing to host us, then awesome.
That's awesome. So when do you guys start? Do you guys make a game plan for the haunt season? Basically this week we're going to do this one, and this one, or when do you, how does that process kind of work?
Yeah, it's just a big puzzle. So, we got the calendar here, we got the haunts. We try to hit the haunts as, ones that are located in close proximity to each other, try to make our travel a little bit easier. Hit 2 or 3 per night.
Yeah, it's just a giant logistics puzzle. His brain works great for that. He is in charge of creating the schedule and the calendar and researching, when are they opening? Like, is there a media night? Are they going to do special tours, and just finding out all of that info? And we usually start, late August, early September, because a lot of haunts don't have their info like out there before that. Unless there's somebody that we know well and we can say, hey,
Right.
what's your plan? What's happening? But generally speaking, the schedule is not it's never set in stone, because we all know
Things change.
Should
you can't
happen.
set stuff in stone. Stuff changes quickly. And especially when you have outdoor haunts to consider, and we live in a state where it could be 65 or it could be 26.
Exactly. So we try to make a point of hitting the outdoor haunts first early in the season.
As early as possible in the season to
Mid to late
avoid
September, early October.
crappy weather. But yeah, usually by early September, we have our itinerary sort of, set, and, barring any weird, crazy circumstances, that's about what we're going to follow.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was just curious if you guys had a process for that, or what what all that was
Just
like.
all willy-nilly. No.
Yeah, I'm sure that consumes a lot of time to figure out. Oh, we're going here this day and this. Can't imagine.
Yes, for sure.
It's hours of research trying to plan it all out. And
Right.
Have you ever redirected yourself on the way to a haunt and you see another haunt and you're like, oh shit, okay, and then just beeline it straight
That
back?
has happened a handful of times in our day, for sure.
that's how we found a haunt called the Empty Grave. We were like driving back towards Denver from Terror in the Corn, which is out in Erie. We were driving back towards Denver, and I was driving, and he goes, get off at the next exit. I'm like, why? And he goes, I saw a billboard for a haunt. I'm like, okay.
We were done for the night. It was like 11:30.
Yeah, we
it
were
was all
like-
late.
So off we go.
There we were, new haunt.
Searching for a new haunt.
And that's what we found. The virtual haunt in Lee Summit, I believe.
That's how we
wasn't
found that one. Yep. Saw
it? Just driving
an
through.
advertisement, and we're like, hey, that sounds cool. We're here. Might as well.
Once many years
Sometimes
ago.
those haunts are hit and miss, man, because sometimes they're the shittiest thing on the planet, and sometimes they're the greatest little gem.
Very true.
Yeah.
Or they'll have that one actor that's just like, holy dick, where did you come from?
Right?
And then the rest of the haunt is like trash.
Yeah.
You're
You're like, but
Wow.
you need to be somewhere good.
Yeah, you're like, so I know a guy at this haunt.
Right?
I remember the time we were up in Loveland. We were heading into a creepy walk in the woods, and we just happened to pass. There was this sign on the street, haunted house, little cherry on the house.
Yeah.
I think it was Girl Scouts, Boy
Or-
Scouts, or something.
yeah.
And we're like, we're gonna stop in here.
Some-
We're gonna checking it out. It wasn't bad. It was just there were little kids and lots
Right.
of screaming and whatnot. But it was cute. And like, okay, you earned our donation.
Yeah.
Cool.
Here's your
Right on.
$5.
Well, I know that was it Dark Side of the Abbey. They're ran by the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
That's Venture Scouts.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we are
which is they got such a great location there. That place is so
Great.
creepy.
so good.
That building is amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And disturbance at the monastery, their blackout. I always call it the ultimate haunt challenge because it's
so dark.
that's the only pitch black experiences we get to have anymore.
It's that darkness where you can't tell if your eyes are open or not.
Yes.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
fun. And I know a couple years ago there was they had set up some a bungee cord obstacle course that you have to get through in the pitch black dark.
Mhm.
And it's
Shut up.
so fun.
Yeah.
Hell
I
yeah.
mean, with the lights on, it literally just looks like somebody spent, hours and hours hanging hundreds of bungee cords just crisscrossed all over the place. And yeah, you have to navigate through that in the dark.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck that.
So much fun. We love those stuff like that.
Just
That's
imagine the
awesome.
one guy getting pissed and cutting one of the rubber bands and it
He's like, "Oh, I gotta
snaps
get
across and whacks somebody.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just because I grew up around that area, so I've been
Yeah.
in that building a couple times. Not before it was like a haunted house, and it's creepy, man. That whole area is kind of creepy, honestly.
It is.
So it's got a weird aurora to it or something.
Yeah, it's definitely like just this ominous feeling as you like approach the grounds.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's an interesting spot for sure. So I appreciate you guys doing this. This is
Absolutely.
really
Thank you for
awesome.
your witness.
I think
Yeah,
we're gonna
thank you for coming on and chit chatting with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Much appreciated.
yeah. Appreciate you guys. Again, everyone can find you at Hauntaholics. at all
Hauntaholics
your
dot
haunt-
everything.
Hauntaholics dot everything. That's us.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys.
Yep.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so much.
guys.